the correct assumption to make, which means that Darkseer is either going to be jungling or is going to be in that off lane. And offlaning against a Bane is dangerous for a Darkseer, because if you get caught out and you surge prematurely, then, well, it's not going to be a good time for you, because Nightmare just counteracts it completely, and then you get caught out by open wounds, and you're pretty much a very sad, sad little purple guy. So, second ban phase is rolled around here. Mouse Sports, they've taken out the Rubik. The Lone Druid's banned out from Rock's Kiss. And I'm thinking to myself, right now, on the side of Mouse Sports, they need one support, and they need a potential offlaner. The jungling offlaners are already banned. The Nature's Prophet, the Lone Druid, they're taken out from Rock's Kiss. So, what choice do Mouse really have in terms of who they're going to pick up? Because no matter what offlaner they get at this point, it's probably not going to be farming.
Yeah, either they're going to sack it completely and get a jungler, but I feel that Rock's Kiss are most likely going to go with a smart move to ban out a Weaver, like I pointed out earlier, because that Weaver is then not going to have, or they're not going to be able to pick it up, because that would be a nice offlaner to have, just because he got nice lane presence and he's quite hard to pick up, or pick off, which means that he should be able to get some experience in that long lane. And even if you run an aggressive trial, he works wonders when he's in the safe lane. So banning out a Weaver would be great, and that leaves only heroes kind of like Windrunners and Bounty Hunters, and they, like you mentioned, can't jungle.
A Windrunner for me seems like, it doesn't feel solid here, you know? Because it's not a hero that is going to be able to get a fast mech. You're going to be suiciding her, basically. She's not going to have an impact. Mouse Sports actually don't even have a mech hero, per se. I guess the Bane could pick it up at some point, but you don't really want to buy it in a Bane, just because if you don't have Arcane Boots, you're going to be so mana-starved. So that's why we typically don't see him get it. So maybe Keeper of the Light's still available. Maybe that's going to be Mouse Sports' pick coming out of the second ban phase here, because they are actually going to get the first pick. And that would alleviate, I think, a lot of the problems that they have. Number one, they're not so good at counter-pushing. They don't have much AoE at all, pretty much just the puck. And number two, it opens up the map a bit.
Yeah, I wonder what Rock's Kiss wants to get as a setup support here for the Clockwork. I mean, the Rubik's been banned out, the Shadow Demon's been banned out as well. You can always go for Leshrac if you are going for a carry that can actually help you set it up. But you kind of want something like the Nightmare, or of course the Disruption and Lift. But since everything is taken or banned out already, what would you feel that they should go for here?
It's a really hard choice, honestly. Like, for me, Mouse Sports, if you look at their team right now, they need somebody who can counter push. That's the biggest problem, and it is going to be the Keeper of the Light. So it wasn't really an option. They could only go for really one hero, but for Rock's Kiss now, it's like, we need supports, and we don't have any, maybe aside from the Clockwork.
Yeah, I wonder why, or not really wonder why, but it feels like Mousesport's last pick is most likely going to be a Weaver, since it's still in the pool. Would work well. You get a nice offlaner that can get some experience, really hard to catch. And yeah, it would just be a really nice hero to round up their lineup, because there isn't really too many heroes or that many other heroes that they can pick up in this situation. But Rock's Kiss, like you said, they need another support to be picked up here, and then of course find a carry, but they're going to go for the Phantom Lancer. So
this is another one of those lineups that you look at it, you see the Clockwork, the Darkseer, they can delay the game. That is really what those heroes are meant to do. You have an OD who during the mid game, that's going to be your mech carrier, I think, or maybe he'll just go straight for a Force Staff since he has a Darkseer on his side. But you actually mentioned earlier when we were watching an OD being played by, I want to say it was Funzy, if I'm not mistaken. He went for the Tranquil Boots Buckler. You can just stay in the lane forever. So I feel like maybe they might gravitate towards that. Maybe they want to get Darkseer the pipe first, because they are up against the puck at Keeper of the Light now, and having the pipe and the mech together, and you can rush both of those items pretty fast, I think that Rock's Kiss would feel pretty darn safe during the mid game.
Yeah, it would be very smart to try and get the mechanism up on the OD as well as pipe on Darkseer, like you mentioned, just because they'll be able to push really hard. And if the Phantom Lancer go for something like Silent went with, going for drums into Yasha, into Diffusal after that, their pushing power is going to be great. Just getting the extra movement speed and, of course, damage out of the drums, and then just group up as 5, and you got the OD with, of course, the Sanity Eclipse. And we're going to see an Anti-Mage being the last pickup here, which I would say indicates an aggressive trial lane coming out of Mouse Sports. And then, of course, the Anti-Mage is going to be in the safe lane, most likely being played by Black. And he's going to go up one-on-one versus Darkseer.
This is a bit of a trade-off, because you're dodging the Phantom Lancer, and you're letting the Anti-Mage farm. So the Anti-Mage and the Phantom Lancer are going to find some farm, but I think the problem is, especially for Mouse, is that if you put that tri-lane in the bottom lane, what if Rock's Kiss just go top instead, and then you're up against a Darkseer, then you have to move. I mean, they're the ones who have to aggressively lane it. They have to be in the same lane with the Phantom Lancer at all times. That's pretty much their goal. Allow Black to play that 1v1 against the Darkseer or against the Clockwork, depending on who it's going to be, and Silencer coming out from Rock's Kiss. And I actually saw the rebroadcast of IG versus VG Gaming, and IG actually ran Silencer against AM. That AM had a very bad time.
Yeah, that AM didn't really get any fun whatsoever, and I believe Sean played it, and it looked like he was a carry, even though it was on a support. Pretty much had every kill.
Yeah.
And you just stack up so much int as well, and the best part with that is that it scales together with OD. If you get pickoff kills and steal the int, your Sanity Eclipse is going to do more damage in the end if the game goes long. So a really nice pickup for the last pickup here, but y'all picking up the Darkseer right now, they might swap it out with Dread. We'll have to wait and see, of course, once we're in the game, but I feel that the Silencer is a really nice pickup to round up, just because you have the global for the Bane, and Puck relies so much on his spells. And if you have a global there, you can just kill him off instantly.
I think, like you were saying, just being able to get the Silencer 6, though, that's going to be the important thing. Of course, Rock's Kiss, they're probably not going to be running an aggressive lane, just looking at their heroes. Which means that Vanscore is going to be able to get some pulling done. But let's go over the players really fast here first on the side of Mouse. We're going to have Cinderin playing on that Keeper of the Light, Fata. He's going to be taking that puck towards the middle lane. Quakefa playing on that Life Stealer. Pos going to be playing on the Bane. And finally, Black going to get one of his most well-known heroes, if not the most well-known, the Anti-Mage.
Yep. And from left to right, on the side of Roxas, we got BZZ is perfect on the Phantom Lancer. Dread is going to handle the clock, which means that we're most likely going to see an offlane clock. OD being handled by Solo. Vanscore picking up that Silencer. That
have a level 1 fight. Iron Shell is going to be there on Dread, and that might be enough to make everyone back up. But look at Quakefa. He is totally out of mana already. Like, just drained. 1 Cog, 1 Astral Imprisonment, and an Open Wounds.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this decision. Like I mentioned, Yol being on the Darkseer. That means he's going to be able to free farm in the jungle. Dread isn't going to have that much of a bad time against the AM if they actually run the Clockwork in the long lane. But it looks like BCC is moving towards mid-air, so they might just go up to top lane instead and try and contest the AM's farm. Or even do something more. No, I was going to say they might run Solo up there on the Outworld Devourer, but they're going to run the PL up against the AM, and we might see Silencer rotate up as well.
Well, this is pretty much the only choice that I think Rock's Kiss could have made. If you go up against the aggressive tri-lane of Mao's, you got a Keeper of the Light, a Bane, a Life Stealer. We talked earlier when we saw actually these heroes play together that it's easy to land the follow-up Illuminate. It's easy to land the Open Wounds, and you pop off the Nightmare, get the Brain Sap off, just go for a really quick kill. And as long as you buy Sentries, BZZ would have never farmed. So their choice basically is just keep Clockwork in the bottom lane. He's going to be getting much more experience here than he would have if he was top, probably, for a while anyway, because he started with Boots. He didn't really start with the optimal 1 versus 1 build. But they're going to have a babysitter for this Phantom Lancer, and Black's going to be like, guys, I'm going to need some help.
Yeah, they're going to be forced to rotate up the support, as we actually see Cinder moving up straight away. So he's going to be there with the Illuminate to help out, but I still feel that the damage output on the side of Roxas is a bit higher together when you have the Silencer together with the Phantom Lancer. As soon as Silencer gets his last word, that damage output is going to increase massively as well. And the best part about Roxas' decision with this is that they're going to have a Darkseer in the jungle, and if they go Mechanism on the Outworld Devourer, then the Darkseer is going to be able to rush the pipe really, really fast, especially if he can freeform in the jungle.
Which I think he's going to continue to do, as he's decided to start at the big camp, actually, doing some neutral Ion Shelling. You can actually get the double damage off as long as you Ion Shell yourself and then another creep, and you can kite it out, and it's actually very, very efficient to do so. Also allows your bottom lane to pull if he wants to. In this case, I don't think Dread will be doing that, because he's pretty unsafe. We can see Pos going around. He wants to try to find the Nightmare. Is he going to go for it? Dread's actually just going to turn around and hit him. Says, yeah, I got boots. I'm totally content in chasing you down. But I get the feeling that this game is going to be based on how much farm they can get black for Miles, because if he doesn't keep up with the Phantom Lancer, it's going to be pretty scary.
Yeah, black is going to need a lot of farm, especially since you need to go for something like a Battle Fury to be able to out-farm a Phantom Lancer, whereas Phantom Lancer pretty much needs a Yasha together with a drum and you're good to go. And Roxkiss, with this defensive lineup, they're even going to go for a strongman lane that James loves to do, or loves to see, where you have the Darkseer as well as the Clockwork down in bottom, which is really smart because they can never go on Dread. He got the Cogs, as well as having a Darkseer close. They'll never get a kill on it.
Laning choice is a little bit weird for this first game. I don't think there's anything else to say other than that. I think the only normal lanes we've seen so far is the Puck versus the OD mid, and we could talk about this matchup too, just because Fata, he's going to be struggling. Intelligence Heroes against OD, not their happy place. It's even worse for Intelligence Heroes, just because Astral Imprisonment reduces your base damage. You can see it's for 43, now 46 because one of them wears off. But typically Puck's base damage is actually quite high ever since he received his buff. So Solo, going to be quite happy in this position.
Once he's level 5 as well, getting even more in still. He's going to steal 8 per Astral Imprisonment, which is going to be massive for him. I mean, Fata's down to 286 mana, which is Silence and Orb, and then you can't really do anything more. So he's going to aggressively farm with that Orb, which can be really dangerous, especially if some rotation come out of Roxas. The good thing for Fata, though, is that it's not the easiest rotation with the supports that Roxas actually has.
And speaking of rotations, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of those this game. You look at the heroes and you're thinking to yourself, well, Bane, not the best roamer. Keeper of the Light has to stay top. Same thing with the Silencer. This is probably going to be one of the more passive laning phases in terms of rotations that we have seen in the entire West Qualifier so far.
Yeah, it's going to be very passive. We can see Black actually going really aggressive on Vanscore here. Sinner giving him mana as well. He might be just getting a first blood here, and Black is going to blink out as well. So first blood going the way of Black. That's really nice for him since he's falling behind a tiny bit in the last hits. He's only 2 last hits behind BCC though, but BCC not going to be able to farm in this lane anymore.
That was incredible awareness from Black. He just knew that there was no more mana on BZZ to throw another Lance, and he knew he could get those auto attacks in. Of course, AM, he's extremely fast. He even decided to buy himself boots, so he's actually still winning in CS over BZZ. And for Roxkiss, we talked about how important that was. Bottom lane, Yul, he really wants to surge himself, but he knows Pasta just waiting to throw out the Nightmare. Yul's just going to die. Like, he gets the surge off, but Dread, unfortunately, not close enough. And Miles up to a fantastic start, 2-0.
That's really nice, getting those pickup skills. Dread actually going for the pull instead of staying in lane, getting some extra XP. I can understand it, getting the pull, getting the extra gold out, of course, and getting the lane back a bit, but letting the Darkseer die there is kind of bad. Qualifier picked up face boots now, which means that he's going to be able to chase quite easily, and with Pass getting higher levels as well, he can rotate with that Bane.
And that's really key here, because since these are all 2-1-2 lanes, essentially, if you win a lane, you're getting a ton more experience because you're not splitting it between another hero. So it's not like a support lane where you're going to be level 4 at like 10 minutes in. Paz is level 4 now, and it's 5 minutes in. So the impact of these supports getting a lot more experience per lane is going to be pretty important as this game stretches on. And BZZ, he's made the transition. He's like, I don't want to be up in that top lane anymore. We've already given away the first blood. Top lane looks like Yul's taking some harassment as well. But he's going to be fine. Black actually blinks forward. The surge is going to be wearing off, but unfortunately Black not able to get any more autos. And he's putting points into that mana break. He's playing a little bit more aggressive than I would say even normally for him, but he's still making it work.
Yeah, he's going to be able to jump on Yol here, and he's going to use his mana void as well and get the last hit in. So a really nice pickup kill there for him, and this just helps him get more and more farm. It's going to put him closer to Battle Fury, and with BCC not really picking up any farm whatsoever, he's going to have a hard time being in this lane against Koikwa since he finished off those power treads. So really nice start from coming out of Mouse here.
3 kills on the board, all in favor of Mouse here in Game 1, and this was the scary factor for Roxkiss. This is why they really didn't want to have to lose to DD in that upper bracket, because we always know that Mouse is going to be a ridiculously strong team. And I gotta say, I kind of favored Roxkiss in terms of the draft, but just the way the lanes are working out, Mouse are pretty much winning it all.
Yeah, Mouse is really getting the upper hand in this laning stage, and that's going to help them out because they need to get this advantage to open up the map for Black, make sure that he can get a fast Battle Fury, and then just stay ahead of the Phantom Dancer this whole game.
We'll see if he can manage it. As bottom lane, seeing more rotations from other heroes. There's actually a tri-lane now, a full tri-lane, coming out from Rock's Kiss. And BZZ's trying to catch up on his farm right now. He's sitting at 20 and 14, which at 7 minutes is kind of not so great. And the anime just sitting at 27 and 10, so he is ahead. Not by a large margin, but you'll take an inch if you can get one, especially off of a team like Rock's Kiss when you're going to be up against the PL.
Especially when you need to go for farming at him, like Black needs to do, getting that Battle Fury. It's really nice to just get the smallest edge to be able to finish off that as fast as possible. Since BCC, most likely, like we said, gonna go for the drums into a Yasha, or at least go for a Yasha first to be able to be in this fight, in these fights earlier, as well as helping out with pushing if they want to go for something like that.
I think if anyone's going to be pushing, it's probably going to be Mouse. Oh, Qualifier going on BZZ in the bottom lane. The sentry's there. Comes the Illuminate. BZZ, he can't live through the damage. Vanscore looks to be the next target. They do have an Orb of Venom on Qualifier and Vanscore. He's going to be going down. Coil coming out on the Dread. Here comes Fata just in time. They kill Rock's Kiss. Entire tri-lane. It's a double kill coming out from Paz. He's almost level 6, and it's 8 minutes in.
It's just great rotation coming out of Fata there, and really nice play from Mouse, just stopping BCC's farm, making sure to, like we pointed out, opening up the map for Black. And Black, going up against Darkseer, he's got the Ring of Health already, which means that he's not really going to have too much of a problem playing against this. Since he can always just back out once the creeps are dead, regen up some HP, and get even closer to his Battle Fury. He's up to 1400 gold, got the Ring of Health, boots as well, which means that he's most likely going to finish off that Battle Fury around the 13-minute mark, maybe even faster. And that's going to be so massive for Mouse.
Well, I just made a boo-boo, but we'll talk about that in a second. Regardless, Rock's Kiss looking to be pretty good right now. And no one can actually hear me because I accidentally just kicked the power on my PC. So I have to turn the PC back on. It's a bad time.
No, but it should be fine because
no, this is the computer that registers all the sound. I've never done that before.
Yeah. Well, Koikwa. Yeah.
Well, they can see it, but they can't hear it. Yeah, I just accidentally fucking.
Oh well. Koikwa getting a kill down in bottom lanes.
Yeah. Well, thankfully this is a one-sided game. It's not like it was an epic game. I looked at my screen, I'm like, what the heck? And I realized that I kicked it. Great. Fucking great.
Let's enter. No, I don't need to. But people in Dota TV will not see it.
No, they will. Well, not on Dota TV, but on the stream they will.
Yeah.
Should be back in just a second.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Well,
No, they can't. They can't hear us.
yeah, they can. But that's the thing,
Oh, they
like,
can.
isn't it going through script since he's in the broadcaster shop?
Well, the in-game is this PC for sure. Like, I know that. But everything should be fixed. We're reconnecting to the game right now, guys, so apologize to anybody watching at Dota TV. They're going to find BZC again in this bottom lane. It is actually 7 kills. Make it 8 soon, going in the advantage. And a nice triple coil coming out from Fata Dread. He's trying to run away with those cogs. They can't even manage to kill Paz. He's even got his Fiend's Grip up if he wants to try to come back in. Body blocking coming out from Quake, but he picks up the kill. It's going to be a double for him. Fata trying to run away with the Haste Rune. Going to see the flare from Dread. Is it going to be enough? Doesn't look like it. Here comes Solo, though, with the mech. He's going to be able to get the Astral Imprisonment off onto Fata. Quake trying to run away. Dread, he traps himself in with the Life Stealer. Probably not what he wanted to do. And Quakefa looks like he's going to be the first death on the side of Mouse, but not after, or not before, excuse me, he gets that triple kill. Now they're trying to turn around onto Solo. Last word is going to be there. Fata's going to be dropping here in a second as well when that last word ticks. And good night, Puck. As Cinnamon is going to be forced to back up. And Rock's Kiss, they're trying to find an opening right now. BZZ, he's walking over. He wants to try to find the Lance. Cinderin, though, quite fast. And it looks like PL isn't going to be able to catch him.
That was such a nice fight from Mouse, even though they lost both the Life Stealer as well as Puck in the end. it just puts so much pressure off the top lane, which means that Black is just going to keep on free farming. He picked up Tranquil Boots to be able to stay in this lane, and now he's never going to have to leave. He's got his Perseverance as well. He finished up with Magic on, which means that he can get some extra HP if needed, since he's been able to stack up to 7 on that, and he's getting closer and closer to his battlefield.
Cinderin channeling Illuminate here, middle lane. Here comes the Fiend's Grip onto Solo. Can Dread actually stop it in time? He gets coiled before he comes out and uses the cogs, but he's only going to trap Fata, who has the orb up, and he's not even going to have to jaunt to it to get away. It's going to be 2 quick kills coming out for Mouse, and I got to say, it's 2-12 right now, and Mouse just seem to be rolling here in game 1.
Yeah, Peel is never really going to kick into this game, I feel, just because Black getting so much farm. He's going to be able to finish off another item after the Battle Fury before Peel even gets his Diffusal. Unless he, of course, rushes it after the drums. He's picked up his bracers, so we'll most likely see the drums before. But from what we've seen from other PLs is that they go for the Yasha in between, which means that he's going to have the Yasha around the time Black gets his Yasha after the Battle Fury.
We'll see how the farm ends up for both teams, but we can see the OD still has a really fast mech, and that is relatively important. I'm just not sure if it's going to have much of an impact. Kappa per minute. Excellent stat, Bruno. I'm a fan. I am personally a fan. And Qualifier, in the meantime, he's got his drums done. He's got the Overvenom. He's got the phase boots. Probably going to be seeing him go for the armlet build next. Wouldn't be too surprising. The one thing we have to worry about, though, is even though Mouse have a significant kill lead right now, in the late game, you still have to worry about the OD. You still have to worry about the PL. PL's been shut down to an extent, but he hasn't been totally knocked out of the game.
If you can keep this aggression up, though, that's going to be great for Mouse. As soon as Black hits that Battle Fury, maybe gets his Yasha up, they should just try and force fights, in my opinion, just to be able to keep the pressure going on the Phantom Lancer. Like I mentioned, if they can keep pressure on him and make sure that he can't pick up another item after his Yasha, then they're pretty much going to keep on going on a roll in this game and just win it kind of straight up. Because Mouse still got the Lifestealer, and if he goes for the armlet, like you mentioned, then he's going to do quite a bit of damage to that Phantom Lancer as well.
We'll see what the next choice is going to be for Quake. Hastrun going to be picked up here by Solo. I don't think he's going to be able to find anyone, and more than anything, I think actually bottom lane they want to try to make something happen here. This Quake is doing a bit of damage to BZZ, but you know a team is behind when there are potentially 3 heroes here, and they still don't want to go on the Solo Lifestealer.
Yeah, Lifestealer at this point is quite tanky. He's up to level 9. Dream
Oh,
Coil
top
going
lane.
on top.
Yo, with a really nice vacuum, actually, might be able to escape this. Just going to stand in the coil and be perfectly fine. I got to say, that was a clutch vacuum. If he didn't get both of those heroes over the ledge, he probably would have gotten taken down. Black, he did have that mana void and continues to farm very, very well. But it's 15 minutes in. Rock's Kiss, they've only lost 1 tower. They lost the tier 1. Of course, Mouse still have all of their remaining tier 1s. And there are just a ton of people down here that want to go for Quake. He does have the rage if he wants to pop it. Going to be forced to use it right now. Here comes the Fiend's Grip coming out of Dread, but the Global Silence coming out for Vanscore immediately cancels it. Can Dread actually live through this? It doesn't look like it. And the rest of Mouse, they're here to back him up. Quake, he goes for the double. He wants more. The Nightmare onto the image. They don't actually know it's an image yet, or they might. The Illuminate's going to be off the mark anyway. And Quake pops the rage, so I guess they didn't know. But BZZ, he's got the 15 charge wand. He's sitting, actually, running back to the tier 2 tower. He is very scared at the moment. And it looks like Mao is going to be able to establish a bit more map control here.
Yeah. Black sending out his Battle Fury now, and he's up to 96 last hit already. That's going to be around 170, 180 once the 20-minute mark hit, which means we're going to see a Yasha, maybe even a finished Manta style around 22, 24 minutes into this game. And that's going to be huge for them, because that means that Black will be able to farm a lot faster, and he'll be able to join into the team fights.
As soon as the Manta's done, that's like the scary time for Rock's Kiss, because you have an OD who has probably one of the biggest mana pools, if not the biggest in the game. And Manta is incredibly effective against heroes who have a lot of mana, but don't actually have any because you've been hitting them with Mana Break and Manta images. So Black, he's still being a little bit pressured here. Not really feeling too scared to go back in there and CS. And Fatih wants to come and help, but he doesn't have enough mana to really do much outside of Cool. He does have the regeneration, though, if you wanted to try to loop around and go for this kill. Rock's Kiss, though, they're rotating up in the meantime. Actually going to be 4 heroes here. We'll see if Rock's Kiss can actually bait this out.
Now we see a pull going out for Mouse, which means that the lane is going to come back, and they won't actually be able to gank this unless they, of course, dive under the tower. But I'm guessing they don't want to try that. Fata is on the sidelines, though, which means that they might try and find him here. He does have his orb as well as the phase shift, which means that he'll be very hard to kill even if they actually find him. So Black gonna start farming the jungle a bit since he knows his lane is getting pressured, and they can see more than 3 heroes up in top now.
Miles right now just playing it safe. No reason to do anything else as they maintain a 12 kill lead at 17 minutes, which is nothing short of ridiculous, I must say. But it doesn't really feel like Roxkiss are... I mean, they're looking scared now as Spata goes in. He finds the triple coil right onto Yo, actually going to get stuck in his own team with Cogs. And now we're going to see the Fiend Script going off as well. Here comes a nice Illuminate, hits 3 members of Roxkiss. The mech is on cooldown. Yo trying to surge away, gets brain set by Pos. Going to be the first one to go down. Black, he wants to chase. He's looking for more kills. He has that level 4 into Blink. He's going to get Astral Imprisoned. Another Illuminate hits. And Dread, he's taking a huge amount of damage, along with Solo, who actually buys back. Dread is going to drop as well. In the meantime, Vanscore going to be the next one to fall. It's 2-18, and Mouse, they are just running rampant here in game number 1 against Roxkiss. It's a buyback and another death, and it's a good game, well played. Under 18-minute game. Get out your compendiums. It's over.
Such perfect play coming out of Mouse this game. I mean, the laning was really smart out of Roxkiss, but Mouse just managed to get kills where they weren't really supposed to get any kills, and that was such good plays, and Mouse, just wow.
That was insane. Like, if that was the Mouse that people were expecting going into this tournament, they should just be in first place, because that was ridiculously good play coming out from them. And you know what I love the most? They abused that Roxkiss wanted to get their PL farm so badly. Like, they forced him all over the map, he couldn't get anything, they found kills everywhere because there was so much uncoordinated movement all over the map. It was just brilliance coming out from Mouse in game number 1. So, Roxkiss, they're not going to be feeling too happy about that loss. That's got to, at the very least, be a little bit demoralizing.
That will be demoralizing, especially since they already lost the best of 3 before this. Lost against ED. It's going to be tough to come back from this, but, I mean, they still got the chance. It's just that Mouse, they played it so well, and like you said, they just forced the PL to run back and forth all over the map. Couldn't really establish any farm whatsoever, whereas Black was just sitting in the lane, trying to get as much last hits as possible, and finished off the battlefield around 15-minute mark. So great play from Mouse.
Yeah, excellent play from Mouse. Sorry guys, I actually accidentally restarted the PC, so I have to retype in all the settings, of course, for hosting the next lobby. But we're back in the studio here with James. Bruno, buy me some time.
James.
Brilliant game. Do you like the game too? All right, back to you, Andy.
Brilliant. You guys are dicks. I just want to say that right now. But I personally feel as though that first game...
It's fine, Andy.
No, now you brought it back.
We got this, Andy. We got this.
Jesus.
The supports from Roxkiss, they couldn't really buy the time or the goal that they had in store just because of Mouse Sports going for that offensive try. It was like the Silencer, Clockwork. Silencer is a nice little support to have in terms of harass, but you want to be successful on that, and force someone away didn't really happen. I predicted, by the way, that Yol was going to go jungle, and I was really happy when I saw it. I was like, strongman laning coming, because when he hit level 4, he went to the lane down here, put out some iron shells, and it did help. But just the sheer aggressive diving potential that Mouse Sports had, backed up by their supports, it was, Phantom Lancer didn't have room, and the supports couldn't back him up. What were you talking about? Diving potential. Diving potential.
I really like your analysis. I think it all came down to just weird laning and decisions in the first 5 minutes into the game. Of course, we can't analyze this game as a proper game because just under 18 minutes, there's not much to analyze, really. It's just complete control. They got kills from the 2 side lanes. There was a triple kill after the rotation of the Silencer. That pack came just in time and got him and the Lifestealer. Got a lot going on for them. Black right there. Of course, I mean, if you look at... You can't win this dual lane versus dual lane right here, the way it had. Phantom Lancer was trying to get some crazy, but Black, of course, jumping right on time, knowing when to attack. He was constantly checking the mana of the Phantom Lancer and knew when to go into the aggression. Got a couple of kills. He went out of control real fast. And the fact that, if you look at the score right now in replay, there were 2-15 and in the end 2-19. Roxkiss tapped out and just let's go to the next game.
Yeah, so The thing that I was impressed about Rock's Kiss was solo mid. Do you see how many denies he had?
Yeah, I mean, it's what happens when you're
Yeah, but
against an hero.
it was really good. And had he have just had his lanes work out okay, I feel Rock's Kiss could have done something amazing. One thing that did surprise me, though, was Dread actually came to middle, and there was a sentry ward down with invisibility, and they obviously had to put a sentry ward down to kill the ward on the high ground of the Radiant side, and they still felt they were going to go, and it just backfired. So there were small little things that just kept adding up that made Rock's Kiss at such a big disadvantage. So it's the first under 18-minute GG I think we've had. I'm sure Rock's Kiss can bounce back, though.
Yeah.
They've
shown they can.
Well, I mean, if you want to make a sports analogy, this is tennis, Grand Slam, finals. You had 2 match points the last set. You lost them both. You get a next set. This is it. If you win this one, you go there. But now they're 1 match point below. And if Mousesports can win this, Rock's Kiss will unfortunately have to say goodbye to their TA3 dreams.
Yeah. Which will be a shame. I mean, no one wants to see these either of the team go out of the tournament. No. But Andy, are you ready?
Yeah, we're in the draft already, man.
Oh, well, we bought you. That's how good we are at buying
I bought you. Yeah, we bought some time. I was only needing like 30
Trans
seconds.
is saying stats.
Nah, we don't need stats.
We don't need stats. These teams, it's super late for Rock's Kiss. We don't want to do like the...
We don't need me.
We always need you, Bruno.
Do you want
Get
stats,
over here,
Andy?
TriCast.
Do you want some stats?
Well, we're just missing a couple of picks, so it's no big deal if you want to do stats.
It's about Trans needs to press buttons. There you go. Trans, press the buttons. Head to head.
Come on, Trans. You complain about the freaking stats, and then you give us the wrong stats.
Oh, God.
No stats.
Well,
That's
none
all
of
you
us
get.
are going
It's
to
a
the
teaser.
international anymore. Thanks for that, Trans.
Unbelievable.
Trans.
Now I needed somebody to accidentally kick one of the streaming PCs and turn it off.
Yeah, that would be like...
Trans, you ready? We're going into the drafting phase. So this could be the last game for Rock's Kiss. They need to come back, and out of every ban and draft I've ever seen, Bruno, 100% of the time there is, I think it's 9 heroes picked.
10.
Oh, thank God you're here for that. Yeah, that's right. 10 heroes picked 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Over to you, Andy. You animal.
Don't forget, there are actually 10 bans too, 100% of the time.
Show off.
Which is like really important.
Unless you're Zenith, of course.
Unless you're Zenith, yeah.
Then it's like 5 bans.
Zenith don't actually ban anything.
Who cares?
They just let it go. Well, I mean, the bans still happen, but they don't actually pick the
nothing.
bans themselves. But we're here in game number 2 between Mousesports and Rock's Kiss. It's the last chance for Rock's Kiss. They have to win it here if they want to take this to a game 3 and extend their livelihood in the road to the TI3. Well, the road to TI3, not the road to TI3 qualifiers. That wouldn't make as much sense. But it's going to be a first pick bat rider here for Rock's Kiss. And Mousesports, they're going to be able to get a lifestealer if they want it. They're going to be able to get, not a Bane because they banned it, but what are you thinking for them?
Nyx Assassin in the pool, Clockwork in the pool, Gyrocopter in the pool. Clock Gyro here wouldn't be too bad. I mean, the Gyrocopter overall, a really nice carry. Black has played it quite well. And of course, the Clockwork isn't bad to have either, but there's a lot of heroes still in the pool, and I like the decision-making out of Mouse to ban out the Bane last, but we're going to see a Gyro as well as a Lifestealer, so most likely going to see Black playing that safe lane Gyro, and then an aggressive Trialing coming out with the Lifestealer once again.
You know, I'm perfectly okay with these picks, even though there is still a Clockwork in the pool, just because you have the Gyrocopter and a Lifestealer. It's not just the one hero you're putting all the eggs in one basket, and you say, well, if the Lifestealer gets disabled, we pretty much lose the fight. That's not going to be the case here. Of course, they're not going to be able to get their hands on a Bane because Mousesports have banned it out themselves. So, Rock's Kiss, do they want to go for something like a Mag and maybe a Rubik, get one support? You have the Bat Rider who's still pretty ambiguous with his lane, and then of course you're going to have a support who it can't be picked against you, or do you want to go with something like maybe a Clockwork instead?
A Clockwork Rubik wouldn't be a bad pickup, it's just that it limits them down because you're always going to have 3 more heroes being banned out, which means that you might not get the carry that you want to. But we're going to see a Shadow Demon as the first pickup, and that just feels like a Clockwork follow-up there would have been really nice, but they're going to go with the Mag instead. Just go with the safe bet, get the RP in the fights to be able to lock down the Gyrocopter and the Lifestealer. So, nice pickups. And we'll have to see if Mousesports want to counter themselves with either a Rubik or a Clockwork at this point.
I'm feeling like a Rubik would suit them quite nicely, but they're going to go with their mid first, so looks like they've picked all their core so far, whereas Rock's Kiss, they have 2 of the 3. Of course, they have the Bat Rider and the Magnus, the Shadow Demon being a support. But now, we're going to see a heck of a lot of support bans coming out of Rock's Kiss, and maybe even off-laner bans too, depending on what we figure Mouse is going to be doing for lanes. For me personally, I don't know if we're going to see a tri-lane coming out of Mouse. I think they're going to want to farm on both of those heroes, which means that they're probably going to have to sack their off lane. That's what I think right now.
Yeah, they might just sack the off lane, put the Lifestealer in the jungle, and then have the 2 supports either roam or pull all the time for the Gyrocopter to make sure that the Gyro can just free farm. They can still go for a support Gyro in this position if they want to get something else for the offlane, of course, but that's kind of unlikely since we've seen Black play it most of the times, but it's not impossible for them to actually do it. But Rubik's going to be the first ban out for Roxkiss, and Clockwork, of course, being taken out by Mouseport, so really like the Rubik being banned out, just because being able to steal either a lasso or an RP is always huge.
It's no real surprise that we're getting down to in these 2 bans. Like, yeah, pretty common sense. So for Mousesports, you're looking at their lineup. They need supports. Maybe we're thinking another Keeper of the Light just because of how stable that hero makes you. They played it fantastically in last game, and it's really easy to use with Lifestealer. I think that was the biggest thing, especially when they managed to kill BZZ bottom. I think it was the 7th kill for Mouse in game number 1. Just the open wounds and the Illuminate killed him. Like, he just got auto-attacked down and died. So we know that combination is very, very potent. I'm curious as to see what Roxkiss want to go for carries, because you're up against a Lifestealer. Do they want to try to go for the PL again? It definitely didn't work out for them. It looks like Roxkiss, they were thinking on the same page as us. They ban out the Keeper of the Light.
They might just try and go back to their Alchemist that they used against a DD. Wouldn't be bad to have if they can actually get a really nice setup RP, of course. Maybe not go for the Radiance this time, since it's not really going to work out that well against a Lifestealer. If you go for something like a Shadow Blade into either Maelstrom or an AC instead, would work out a lot better, but could be nice to have. You have a Shadow Demon with the Disruption set up, and then just get another hero, maybe a Jakiro, Lesh. Anything really works out quite well with that.
We're going to find out soon. Luna being the ban out here from Mouse. One more coming out from Roxkiss and Mouse, respectively, here in game number 2. I just want to emphasize, this is like, if Roxkiss drop here, this is getting so close. Like, you don't actually get any closer than this. This is pretty much the match that if you don't win, you could have been 1 match away. That is going to be absolute heartbreak for either team, depending on if this goes to a game 3 or if Roxkiss just get O2'd right here. So for them, everything is on the line. Mouse, everything is on the line. They're going to be feeling confident, though, after that very dominant Game 1 performance. Maybe they're just bringing their A-game. Maybe Roxkiss just weren't ready for the style of rotation and aggression that Mouse brought them in game number 1. But they've had time to adjust. They've had time to take a step back and say, look, we can do this. We can take it to a game 3. Now's the time.
Yeah, Mousesport's most likely going to play it as safe as possible, like we saw DD play in the last best of 3, where they just went for the Megas to be sure instead of going for the throne, making sure that they would win that game. So if Mouse actually gets ahead, we'll probably see quite a long game, unless, of course, it is a lot like the last game. But we'll see what supports they pick up. If they actually pick up some aggressive supports, then we might see that. But Alchemist is going to be banned out, so I feel that's a really nice ban out from Mousesports in the last for the last ban here.
And now, what carry choices do Roxkiss really fall back to? I mean, you're up against a Gyrocopter and a Lifestealer. I suppose you could pick Lone Druid. With Empower, it's going to be pretty solid. You can always get some lucky entangles and do a decent amount of damage to the Gyro and the Lifestealer. But what else do they really have?
Antimage is always in the pool, but will it work well enough against a Lifestealer and the Gyro? I mean, you're going to have the Empower, which means you're going to get some extra cleave. You can go for more of a fighting build, but it's still only 1 carry so far, and the core is going to be, or it's going to be so much reliant on the carry, and we're actually going to see the Antimage, but it's still 1 hard carry against 2 hard carries.
My worry now is that they're pretty much found out of what they want to do. So Mousesports, they have the Lifestealer. What they could do is they could just lane against the AM, send the Gyrocopter mid, put the puck in a 1v1, aggressively tri-lane the AM. Try to shut him down as hard as you can, because the AM, Shadow Demon, +1 tri-lane, I'm not really thinking of a hero that's going to be able to stop the Lifestealer from farming in that matchup, especially since Mouse take away the Lina. So there's not going to be the follow-up stun. The Leshrack's already banned. I'm thinking Mouse, they want to go after this AM.
Mouse are just going to go aggressive tri-lane with this. They got the Lina for the extra burst. We might even see a Jakiro as a last. Not really adding too much to the aggressive potential, but it's still, you get an extra stun, you get the dual breath out, which is always nice to have. And if Roxkiss, by some random decision making, would go for an aggressive disrupt, you always have the ice path to follow up after that to be able to stop them from going in on you. So Jakiro is always possible, but it still feels like they might want to try and get another setup stun or just another really strong stunner.
There's really not many of those left. I mean,
Yeah, that's
Rubik,
wrong.
Leshrac, Lina, none of them are available. Bane's banned. And it's going to be a Treant Protector, so that's going to be their tri-lane choice. Now, this pretty much only leaves one option for them. I mean, I guess they could do something else, but I'm feeling like it's going to be the Tree, the AM, the Shadow Demon together, the Mag Mid, the Bat Rider either sacrificing offlane completely or just going into the jungle. But as we mentioned before, Mouse, they're likely to just lane against the AM, so I'm feeling like this Bat Rider would feel confident going in a one-on-one against this Puck.
Yeah, going a one-on-one against the Puck wouldn't be bad. Or even go one-on-one against the Gyro. Against the Gyro would be a bit harder, since you have the flat cannon to be able to harass, but you'll still be able to stack up the napalm. And if the Gyrocopter misplays, you're always going to be able to get a kill, since it doesn't really have any escape mechanism. Whereas the Puck can, of course, orb away, and he's got phase shift. So we'll have to see what the last support now is going to be for Mouse Sports, but could even be something like an Enchantress or Shen, just to be able to get an extra potential in there, being able to stay in the jungle around them. But it's going to be a lone druid, which means support Gyro.
Yeah, support Gyro coming out from Mouse Sports, and honestly, this secures the late game. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Lifestealer, Lone Druid, potentially Gyrocopter getting some farm. That is some serious late game potential coming out of Mouse. A bit greedy with the last pick, I would say, but their team, for the most part, Gyrocopter actually does pretty well as a support. He still does a huge chunk of damage. You're going to have your Initiator from Fata. You're going to have Cinderin playing on that Lina, and the follow-up damage is going to be there. But Mouse, in 5 versus 5 and pushing, that's when they really become scary. The only thing that they're lacking is a hero who would get a mech.
Yeah, a mech carrier is what they need. So I'm guessing that we'll most likely see Lina might pick it up as in the later stages. But Roxkiss doesn't really have any counter push either, which means that they're not. I mean, you got the shockwave spam, but more than that, it's kind of hard unless they get a Firefly outside of the base before or outside of the towers. So they might not even need a mech if they just get tanky on their heroes, get a set of drums up on the Lifestealer, as well as get power treads up on the carries. Maybe arcane boots up on the Lina would be nice to have, but power treads on the Gyrocopter wouldn't be bad to have. But we can just go over the lineup straight away. Starting off on Mouse side, we got, of course, Cinderin playing on that Lina, Koikwa picking up the Lifestealer for the second game in a row, Fata playing the Puck, Black, of course, on his Lone Druid, and that leaves Pass playing the support Gyrocopter.
And then on the side of Roxkiss, BZZ, the last hope right now of Roxkiss, can be playing that AM Dread. Going to be playing on the Bat Rider solo, playing on the Magnus, leaves Van Score on that Shadow Demon, and finally Yul going to be playing on that Treant Protector. And Mouse, their level 1 is scary. You do not want to fight them at level 1. BZZ, he's going to get that Treant armor right there, that living armor, the protection that he needs right now to feel a bit safe. And he hasn't skilled anything yet. He's just going to skill Blink, I'm sure, depending on what the lane shape up to be. But there's no way against this lane that he's going to get anything other than Blink at level 1. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, he really needs Blink at level 1, and I like this the choice of going for the Gyrocopter, even though it's a greedy build to go for, or a greedy pickup to go for the Lone Druid last. Lone Druid is going to be just fine against the Bat Rider. Of course, the Bat Rider can get some pressure out, but as soon as he's level 5, there's always the potential of a root, which means that it could be really hard for him to actually get a lot. Bat actually picks up a regen down the bottom, but up in this top lane, you get the extra burst out from the Gyrocopter, which is really nice. They needed some follow-up damage to the stun of the Lina as well as the open wounds of the Lifestealer.
And this tri-lane is going to be where all the emphasis lies for both teams. If Mouse win the tri-lane, they're going to be in a fantastic position. If they lose the tri-lane, then mid-game for them is going to be a nightmare. They're still probably always going to win the late game, 40 minutes plus. I don't think there's any argument there. It's just, there's going to be this point in time where their lineup is still trying to get the core items, trying to get the Lifestealer, his phase, get his drums or his armlet, whatever he goes for, try to get the blink on the Puck, and then try to play. So, for me, most of the emphasis is going to be top lane. Mid's going to be important too, though. We can see Fata Going to be playing on that puck, going 1-on-1 against Solo on the mag. But it's not really a fair 1v1 because he's got the living armor.
Yeah, the living armor is going to help a lot for mid, just because Fata, with the higher base damage, of course, or just a tiny bit higher, but he's going to try and harass this mag out of lane as much as possible and force him to bottle crow. But with the living armor, he's going to be able to stay in lane, get the extra last hits. He's finished off his bottle now, which means he can start that bottle crow as soon as they get a flying courier. So see some dewarding going down up in the top lane as well, whereas Koikwa farming away, and BCC is going to have such a hard time going up against two ranged and Lifestealer, who we pointed out already has such a great lane presence just with a feast there.
Yeah, they're doing a nice job of keeping him scared. That's really their only objective right now. As long as Quakefoot is getting more farm than the AM, they're going to be fine. This is pretty much the only purpose of the lane, and all it takes is one person to get a little bit out of position against the lane that Maus have, and you're just done for. There is like nothing that you're going to be able to do against it. But talk about bottom lane for a little bit, because Dread is going 1 versus 1 against a lone Druid, and this is actually one of the few matchups where I feel like Dread's not going to just roll over his opponent, because once Black hits level 5, 1 or 2 entangles, and the Batrider, it doesn't matter if he has Firefly or not, he can actually die.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter if they have the Sticky Napalm up as well. I mean, the slow will help you get away a tiny bit, but it's still, you don't need the turn rate if you're just going straight forward and trying to get entangled. So Dread will of course get quite a bit of last hits, but Black is not going to be able to, or Dread is not going to be able to stop Black's farm.
BZZ going to get pressured here. Light Strike Array forcing out the blink, eating the entire living armor. And it's funny because if he didn't have that, he would have gotten so much lower. Like, that would have almost been a kill, basically, just showing how much damage output Maus tri-lane actually has. And middle lane, we can see Fata still farming pretty well. He's actually losing in terms of total CS to the Mag by a very small amount, actually 1 deny, as he decides to pull ahead right there, as we were talking about it. But Fata's impact in the mid game, he's going to be pretty much only going for the AM. And in that sense, I feel like Mao's lanes favor them just because of how easy it's going to be for Fata to rotate on those supports and rotate on the AM.
Yeah, he's going to have such an easy time. As soon as he's level 6, gets boots up, he can just TP up the top lane, get a pick-off kill, because even though they have the Disrupt, there's not much more they have in that lane. They got a leech hit in the living armor, but if they have a Rocket Barrage, that living armor is going to go down straight away.
See the Rocket going downtown here. Actually gets hit by Yul. That is a hard punching train right there. 91 damage. They managed to kill the Rocket before it hits him. But we can already get the feeling of this AM not getting the start that he wants. Black isn't necessarily being shut down either. And you can see that his experience for mid is actually looking to be some of the highest right now overall. And he's starting to feel a bit more confident. But Dread, he wants to go. He wants to find Black. He's got the Treant armor. He wants to try to do something, but I don't think he's actually going to be able to catch here. Black's still sitting at full health. He has the boots. He's looking for the bear now. See if he can actually get it. He's running into the trees, and he will manage to pick it up, so that's 100 gold going his way. Black actually could have resummoned, but in the woods, Homing Missile going to be chasing down Vanscore. They want to try to go for the first blood. Can Potts actually use another Rocket Barrage? He does have 1 wand charge, but he's going to decide not to pursue. And that could have been close, actually, for either team.
Yeah, living armor being up there on Vanscore as well. Would have tanked quite a bit of damage since Rocket Barrage does 11 damage per second, and the living armor, of course, blocks 20 damage on 7 hits on the on level 1. But Koikwa taking quite a bit of damage, leech hit coming out, so gonna heal them up a bit and forcing Koikwa back, forcing him to use a salve as well.
And this is a huge creep wave that's going to be coming under the towers, so the Tri-Lane of Mao's going to be getting some experience and gold that they're going to be quite happy about. And once Paz starts getting a handful more levels, once the Rocket Barrage gets skilled a little bit higher, that's when their kill potential is going to just skyrocket, because higher ranks of Rocket Barrage, that ability is ridiculous at level 4, and that's going to be the scariest point. But it's not going to be for a while. As we can see, bottom lane, Black still playing pretty aggressive here against Dread. He really wants an entangle, and he's actually going to be able to get one. Dread might be in a little bit of trouble. He's currently running under the tower. Can he get another route? Can he actually get Dread? The bear's chasing him down. Black wants it so bad, but he's going to have to be forced back. He can't dive that far under the tower. A little bit too manly.
Yeah, but this is when the Lone Druid gets really scary. If he gets 2 entangles, like you mentioned, Dread is going to die. There's like no coming back of that. Just because the living armor is strong, but with the Orb of Venom, the living armor takes off quite fast as well. Even though it's just small damage, he blocks out the Orb of Venom damage, but it still burns it off. So really nice play. by Black, playing super aggressive, and that's kind of what's needed.
He's doing a pretty good job of keeping the Bat Rider in check, and that's pretty much the most important thing. As long as his blink doesn't come ridiculously fast, then Miles are looking to be in pretty good position for the mid-game. And Fata, he's going to be able to find himself a haste rune, which is going to be nice for him. And yeah, it was him yesterday, right, that got like the 10 million haste runes in a row, as Vanscore is actually going to DC. But while we have a minute...
Might have been the Entangle, yeah.
You don't have your microphone on.
Yeah, I just want to ask a question to you off mic.
Yeah.
Sure.
I just wondering if more the
Could be too little damage.
I don't think it does.
It
I think
could
it
be
has
like
to be
the
more than
poison
5
fix,
or
yeah.
something. Yeah. I don't think it
So
actually
it's
burns it.
Entangle that burns off the living armor still. But, anyways, burns it down quite fast.
And Miles still looking to be pretty solid here in the early game. But Rock's Kiss, they actually pulled ahead in terms of experience. The AM is getting a pretty good chunk more experience than the Lifestealer is. So the support moving to try to go for Vanscore, giving a little bit of time for the AM to recover. Could turn around to bite them a little bit, but I'm still feeling that Miles, they don't have to win the laning phase super hard. They just have to be able to make it to the late game if they can't end the game.
Yeah, they need to keep BCC from getting his Battle Fury super fast. Koiko is getting quite a bit of farm, and like you mentioned, they are falling behind a tiny bit on experience since the supports on the side of Roxas has actually been pulling the medium camp, and you can't really contest it. I mean, you got a Gyrocopter and Alina, but you need the open wounds to be there to be able to get the setup, to get the slow out so you can actually follow up with the Light Strike Array. So solo XP coming the way of BCC, which is really nice for him. As soon as he gets the Mana Void, they can always get a turnaround kill if Magnus actually rotates up.
I think the first rotation we're likely to see is that Puck. We spoke about it briefly, and it's like Fata, he has a haste rune right now, and an extra bottle charge. So honestly, if he picks up this haste, sure, Rock's Kiss are going to see him for the moment, but can they actually react fast enough? Because a hasted Puck can actually just orb over to the high ground, maybe look for a support kill. Vanscore, of course, and Trainer only level 3 right now. Looks like Malice is ready to go, and Vanscore has reconnected to the game. So we'll see what happens. First blood still not on the board, 6 minutes in. It's game number 2 between Malice and Rock's Kiss. And Fata is hanging around this haster, and he will manage to pick it up. He's not going to go top, though. Feeling quite confident to just go back mid and farm.
It's quite nice for him to be able to farm up with these power treads, which means he's going to have more damage once he actually goes up to the top lane. Might even go for a Blink Rush if he wants to really put pressure on this team, but we've seen him go for the power treads into Blink just to be able to get some extra survivability, being able to switch over to strength treads, and just getting the extra mana up as well.
We can see top lane, Pass is trying to contest some creep pulls here. And Rock's Kiss, they have an incredibly defensive tri lane. There's nothing else you can really say. I mean, it's a Shadow Demon, it's a tree, and it's AM. But the AM actually already managed to get his treads. Well, Qualifier, I believe, is getting close to his phase. He actually already has him, so I don't really think that Rock's Kiss are ever going to be able to play the aggressors. They're just going to have to wait for a mistake on a mouse. I'm just not sure if that mistake's going to come. Because as it stands right now, well, it's not a huge lead. Qualifier is starting to pull ahead and farm, and the AM is going to feel squishy for quite a long time.
Korka has finished off his face boots, which is really nice for them if they can actually catch someone out. I mean, they're never going to be able to kill off the Anti-Mage, but if they can find one of the supports, that's going to be massive for them.
Haystern popped by Fata. He's looking for the Bat Rider right now. Might be able to catch the first blood right here. Here comes the Bear as well, Dread. He's going to pop the Firefly. I don't know if he's going to be able to get away. The Tree and Armor's there, buying him quite a bit of time. And here comes Solo. He wants the RP. He actually misses it. Fata, he face shifts the RP. Brilliantly done, and an Entangle onto Solo. They're going to go a 2-for-1 special, or 2-for-none special, I should say, as Fata, he picks up the double. Very nice phase shift coming out right there.
Really nice rotation, and the reactions of Fata are just superb. And Black, of course, gonna get a free lane for even longer now, finishing off the face boots on his Bear, and Dread is gonna have a super hard time to come back to this lane. Now you have the face boots, and he can chase the Bat Rider so easily.
That was such a nice play coming out from Fata, and I gotta give props to the Treant too, because he gave Dread the armor, made him live a really long time, and you think for a second, maybe they can turn it. Maybe they can get away from Fata, because his orb was still on cooldown for a few more seconds and try to go for a kill, but that phase shift just ruined